Thank you for joining me. My name is Robert Culp, and I have Tennessee Pen Supply, where I sell my blanks, cast resin blanks, Abranet, Mercury CA, and a few other things. Today I want to talk to you about pressure pots. I know there have been a number of videos, but I've had a couple people tell me that there really wasn't the detail, so I want to go through and let you know what I do with regard to setting up a pressure pot. A lot of people will use the Harbor Freight pressure pot, and those while they are very common, they also are fairly cheap too. I like the Grizzly G6, where is it? Yes, G6330, and that seems to work out real well for me. They're fairly inexpensive too, $85 plus shipping, so that's really good. The lids seem to fit real well. They do not rock back and forth on the pot like a lot of the Harbor Freights do. When you get the pressure pot in and unbox it, it comes with this hardware on top of it. Again, it is designed as a paint pot. It's supposed to have the regulator on top of that, which I don't use. I strip it down and go very basic setup. A lot of people will use a pressure regulator, but you really don't need it unless your pot leaks and you leave your hose and air turned on continuously. You will then use the pressure regulator to keep it at the right PSI. But again, if you have to do that, your pot has problems and you need to fix it. So it comes with the dip tube. I've already disassembled this, so it's going to come out fairly easy. You will need pliers to get this tube out, and that is for the paint. On top, you've got a number of other fittings. Again, I've already disassembled this, so they are coming out much easier. You will need to use a crescent wrench or something like that to take these out. I will go ahead and take everything out, and I replaced the hardware on mine. I go with a little bit better hardware, and that way I just don't have to worry about it. What hardware do I use? I've got a few things here. I replace it with a gauge that has 50 straight up. I like that because I usually run my pot at about 50 pounds, and it's very quick to look at, and when the needle's straight up, I know I'm done, I'm good. And that will go in right here. One thing to keep in mind with your pressure pot, you've got two holes. This is actually for the handle that does not go all the way through. You got two holes, 3/8 and 1/4 inch, and that is NPT, National Pipe Thread sizing. If you take a ruler or something and measure that, you'll see that they're much larger than actual 3/8 and 1/4 inch. But NPT 3/8 and NPT 1/4 inch. So you've got to make you got to get the right hardware, and depending on what hardware you get, there's different ways you can do that. You can get a 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter and then go everything 1/4 inch. It's very common. You can pick it up at Home Depot or Lowe's, Amazon, most any hardware type store. But what you want to do is you want to have a fitting that goes into the pot, a male threaded fitting that goes into the pot, going to a ball valve so you can turn it on and off, turn the air on and off, and then to a 1/4 inch quick disconnect, and that's where the air hose will connect. Additionally, you'd need a pressure gauge, and that could be just straight through, but what I do just for safety's sake is I will go ahead and connect a pressure emergency shutoff with that also. And I set mine right up on the 1/4 inch, which is fairly close, phew, that's loud, fairly close to the handle connection, and it sticks out. If I have it installed, it will not connect in. So, having disassembled everything, a T connector. This one male, female on the edge for the emergency relief. Top is also female, and then the gauge fits down into that. So that will screw in like this, and then the inlet, again, what I've done, this is 3/8. You could step it down to 1/4 inch, but I did it for 3/8. There's only 3 pieces. The fewer joints you have, the better. So 3/8 nipple to 3/8, then the ball valve is also 3/8, and the top is 3/8 threaded, but it does go to a 1/4 inch quick connect. Make sure you do not get the larger 3/8 inch. It won't work with what you have at home for your air connect. And then that will thread in like that. And that way, what I'll normally do is I'll have the gauge facing like that, and then that way I can operate it while looking at it. Very easy. Now, without any sort of sealant, it will not seal. You will not be able to hold air. And so there's a couple ways to do sealant. You can use pipe dope. Pipe dope is really the best, but I don't have any, so I'm going to use Teflon tape, just your standard white threaded Teflon tape, and it does take a good bit of this stuff. How do you put it on? Okay, we'll edit that sound. So with the Teflon tape, you apply it, and you want to do it in such a way that it will go with the way you install or screw in the fitting. And if you do it the opposite direction, you'll back it out and you'll unravel the tape. And you'll want to do 8 or 9 good wraps completely around. So that's about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is 10, more or less. Now I went ahead and I used a machinist vise, bench vise, to go ahead and do the other fittings and put them together. And the reason I did that is it's just a whole lot easier. You can do them all together, one piece at a time on here, but then you're dealing with this thing trying to hold it still while torquing it down. You're doing that for each of the pieces. This way, screw this thing on. And we'll see if that'll hold. So we've got that one on. We'll see if she'll hold. Got to do this other one now too. My tape is unraveled a little bit. Let me fix it. No fluid. We'll fix it the easy way. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish. You notice it's kind of warm and humid in here. My garage is not air conditioned. So, yes, it's warm. Well, that went in surprisingly easy. So we're going to do it like this. This turned around a little bit. Sheet. Now, interesting note, what I've done here is I've set it up to where the handle floats to the outside. You want to just avoid the connectors when you do that. You could set it up to where it flips to the inside either way. Pressure relief valve. It already has some stuff on it. I'm going to add a little bit more just because. And we'll see if any of this works. I hope it holds air. The emergency relief valve needs to be set such that if something does happen and you have an increase of air pressure, you're filling it up and something happens, a bug flies in your face, kid comes out and says, "Hey Dad," or "Mom, I need something." Well, you don't want all of a sudden your tank to explode because you forgot to turn the air off. Each tank is rated differently. You will need to set or get the right pressure relief valve setting, and there are some that are variable, but you want to get the right valve for your tank that will give you the ability to pressurize it to whatever setting you want. So if you normally run 50 pounds, you want to get probably about a 60 pound or 65 pound emergency valve, assuming that your tank can handle that pressure. So that's threaded in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the old pieces, and I don't need any sealant for this. Take the old piece, open this up, I'm going to put it on the inside. And the reason I'm doing this is to redirect the air. So instead of shooting it straight down and hitting my molds, I'm going to shoot it sideways and let it bounce off and disperse off the side. Obviously screw that into the one that has the air inlet. It won't do you any good if you put it on the other one with the gauge. So we've got this now. When you put the lid on, tighten the lid with opposite screws simultaneously. One that allows you to use the opposite motion to help tighten it completely. Two, it does the lid evenly so that you don't warp your lid. If you warp your lid, you will again have problems. So, got some air, let's see what we get. When you pressurize the tank, make sure the valves are off first so you don't just have a sudden inrush of air. We'll bring it up. And again, like I said, I like this gauge because straight up is 50. Now I've got my air compressor set to where it will start to regulate itself at around the same pressure, so it's really slowing down. But there we go, 50 pounds. Yep, pretty much right at 50 pounds. Go and plug it. Silence. The sound of silence is beautiful. And it appears to be holding. It's slightly less than 50. I'm not sure exactly what it was when I took the air hose off. But we'll monitor that. If there are any leaks, you find the leaks and you fix them. It could be gasket, you adjust your gasket. It could be the lid, you turn your lid a little bit, tighten it back down and try it again. If you've got leaks around here, you take it apart and you put more thread sealant or Teflon tape on and you put it back. How do you know where it's leaking? Easiest way, take a little spray bottle of water, a little bit of soap, dish detergent. So you got some sudsy water. Spray it, and you can use Windex or 409 or something like that too in a pinch. Spray it on the area. If there's a leak there, you'll see active bubbles. If there's no leak there, it won't be doing anything. You might see some bubbles from where you sprayed, but they won't be doing anything. They'll be sitting there, possibly popping. But if you do have a leak, they will be bubbling actively. So that's how you do a pressure pot.